It's about to get fucking loco in here.
Locsta beats. Yeah. Tell them who on the beat, baby.
Locsta on the beat.
Tell them again, baby.
Locsta on the beat.
Locsta beats in the house, y'all. I like this beat right here I made last night. So I've been dragging my feet about mixing and mastering and arranging my beats lately. So it's in that season that it's time to make a new EP. So that's what I'm just going to have to do. So I just want to share my process. Hold on, let me pause this over here because I'm making sure my live is live. So, all right. So yeah, so I just want to share my unorthodox process. How I've been doing this for years. How I made my beats at first, mixing them and everything, and then how I get down to where I get all my sounds just right, and then later I go back and I arrange it and put it out. Because I don't like to arrange it like a lot of other people do. Make the beat as they're arranging it, and I don't do that. I like to do all of my instruments first and then listen to them, and I get the feel of it, and then I mix it, and then, I arrange it, and then I master it. So let's just get a gist of the beat that we're going to be mixing right here. And this is how I used to make my beats back in the day, by muting in and out stuff. All right, so that's basically what we're working with, y'all. So, of course, to a trained ear, these instruments are everywhere in all of the frequency ranges, right? So, how I usually mix all of that down is I first, I have Fruity Reverb there, but I have it turned off, but that would be the next that I usually use. But I go in and I use the Fruity Parametric EQ. Sometimes I use others, but I just want to keep it simple and use, the step process. But, most any of the parametric EQs you can use this method with that I use. And I learned this from a young cat, for real. And so I'm always learning. This is not something I've always been doing, but I really recently, in the last about 4 years, learning how to really, use new tricks. And it was some young cats, man, that did it. And it sounded good. And I started using them like, well, damn, and then I just added on to it. So, without further ado, we're going to play the beat right here. And what I do, come in, cut that low frequency, cut out the lowest frequency. I know it sounds funny right now, but hold on. Cut out that middle frequencies up in here where the vocals usually sit in at. And cut out the very high frequency. So we're going to make like a little M here. See the M there. So now what you do over here is how you tighten it up a little. You want to cut out the highest frequencies of both sides of your frequency spectrum. So right here, you come here. I hope you all can see that. Can y'all see that? Let me okay. So we did lose some, volume by doing that. We're gonna make that up. We just want to make it sound kind of half decent. So now, where we going? Sometimes I usually use the reverb, but where we're gonna go to the compressor. I usually start off with the threshold wide open. I go with a short attack and about a medium release about here. And then I go to about 2 on the ratio. You can open. I mean, it depends on how punchy and all that your guys want, but I work around all of that. Now, there was another secret sauce that I used either before this or after I use this, but we're gonna go with the fruity compressor real quick so I can just show you. Now we give it some boost here. As you can see, we're reaching. Now you're getting your gain back that you lost when we equalized all those out. And you can hear it right back, but it's clearer now. I don't want to go too high. I want to leave some headroom for some other instruments to work. So you see where our meter is right here, just below 0 here. All right, so now we can go and fiddle around and play with stuff. Let's see what our ambience is going to sound like. Bring down my weight a little bit. We don't want it overly reverb yet. We just want to start sounding good. One thing I didn't mention to y'all, I just jumped right into my effects, which first let me back out of that. So you see what I'm doing there. But the main thing before you even start using your effects, I forgot to let y'all guys know. I'm sorry, but when you come in, and this is my unorthodox way. When I come in and I'm playing my beat, I'm already mixing it here first. So before I even add any of those instruments, any of those effects, it already sounds good over here. It's already panned. It's already at a decent, pretty much level where I can hear all of my instruments together if I play them all together. Even though they shouldn't all go together, but so that's very important that you pan your instruments away from the conflicting. Hold on, let me turn it down for you. Hold on. It's imperative that you pan the instruments that are conflicting in the same frequencies apart from each other, give themselves enough room to breathe, especially in the middle where you have, where you can create muddiness, like with electric pianos, guitars, and things fighting with your drums. You want your drums and your bass sitting basically in the middle. And sometimes I might hit it one time to the left or right, but you always want that drum hitting along bass. So, it sounds good. A lot of you guys gonna already know what I'm talking about. So I don't want to go in all the way into depth of that, but that's basically what I'm doing here. When I'm muting in and out of these tracks, I'm really actually listening to how all of the instruments sound together, even though they don't play together, but if they sound good together and they're not really fighting too many frequencies beforehand, then, I let it go. But you got to give them room to breathe, and like if you have like melodies on 2 different tracks that you might want to try to get away playing, you're going to have to pan those opposite of each other. You're definitely going to have to pan those opposite of each other. If we have 2 dark sounding instruments, you don't, you like a deep guitar and some type of dark synth. You don't want them in the middle with all the drums and your other basses. You want them to be separated from each other not too far off where where your bass frequencies are, because that's where that's where we saw when I made the M. That's where you're gonna shape those all in together. So that's why it's imperative that they sound good before you even start doing anything with your um effects. All right, so now let's go back to the effects. Right, so you got that down. If not, guys, just go, hey, hello, Entrepreneur Empire, Miss LaWanda Davis, Miss Locsta Beats, Mrs. Locsta Beats, I'm sorry, and my sister-in-law over at Entrepreneurial Empire, her channel also. All right, so guys, here we go. So now back to, I bet with the compressor here. So now with my with that ambience that's in there still. Let me go ahead and play with this a little bit. Hold on. Just watch what I'm doing. Okay. So now I go back and I listen to it like it should be without all the instruments clashing together. See, I have this instrument here playing kind of, 1/4 of the way out. And now I know I have my Tascam Model 12 in there. I'm going to get to that in a minute, you all. It's not clickbait, but I'm going to let you know what I do with the Tascam 12 in just a second. So I'm sorry. Just hold on 1 second. So y'all see what I did with that. So we don't have to come back and show you guys that anymore. We're going to stay over here with the effects. All right. So we have our equalizer kind of like we wanted. We still have a lot of, let me see. I am going to have to come back, that instruments, but I'm not going to elaborate on it much. So basically, this is what I want to see is what my punch is and my drums and my bass. So we got that back up. Okay, so now there's still a little bit of semblance in there, so I go down and I use transient processor. It takes all that out of everything, the highs, and it's going to really draw in like an equalizer, and it's going to draw in some of those high frequencies the way that I use it. So we bring our attack up to the curve. Hold on, let me enlarge this if I can. Oh, no. Don't do that. Hey. All right, so if y'all can see that, I have the attack on the curve. I have the release, as you can see. All right, so I come down with the attack at about 1/4 of the way. And I just play with it. We're going to work on the muddiness in just a second. right, so now to cut out all of the muddiness, what we go and do is now I start going into my instruments and mixing the instruments. So what I want to do is I'm going to put my bass on 1, put everybody else on 0 so when we come back. I usually don't even do anything with the hi-hats and my drums because they sit right there with the final mix that I do anyway. So it's just really the instruments. We're gonna start off with my bass. You see, that's just too deep right there, and no matter what you do in your master mix, that's not gonna fix that. So you have to go to that and actually fix that, right? So we're going. And a lot of times it's just basically just going out and cutting out the overwhelming frequency. Again, we just going that. See how that just cut out all of that muddiness? Then I go over here and use my secret sauce over here. Listen, if you need more, see, I don't go and use the FL Studio compressor on any of the instruments. I just usually use the IDX compressor, and I just shape it, cut out the deepest frequencies on it again over here after doing it on the parametric equalizer. And then if it needs to be louder, you just get your gain up. But it really doesn't need to be loud. Alright, so I'm gonna leave that as it is for a second. See, sometimes it does that, so let me see, hold on, let me try to fix that. Because you can hear it, the ambient starting to creep up on it. I'll explain what I'm doing here. Cutting out that deepest low frequency that just be overriding. Then do it again. Hear that this now is overpowering, so we back off. So now we want to take out some of the highness in that because it's shrieking to me. So we go Again, the parametric EQ. Take out those high frequencies and let it sit in with the mix. See, it's not overpowering your bass now, because your bass sounded thin. Here we go. Now we come back with my sequence songs. See, a lot of times you don't even have to do your auto gain. It just finds sweet spots in the frequencies that is in. So since we went and cut out the shriekness, now it's just going to enhance the frequency that is in and give you a sweet spot that you want to put it in. And that's by Intelligent Dynamic Stereo IDX. You just find the sweet spot. You don't want to go back in the shriek, so we bring it back down. Keep it here. We can bypass, and that's what it sounded like a second ago. And then we go back and listen to what we have now. See how lively it is? We can bring it down just a little bit. Listen to what it sounds like in the mix. Now, when you have it on a channel that you're mixing your instrument, that is not how it sounds in your master. So don't think that's what it sounds like. You're basically isolating that instrument to actually hear what it sounds like more or less to it, itself. A lot of times you should mute these tracks, but I always want to hear what everything sounds like in the mix, my unorthodox way, my way. So anyway, you go back here, click on your master mix and see what it really sounds like. I think that sounds pretty decent. All right, so what I usually do, all of the instruments that are in that same type of frequency range, I'll come out of this and I go down to see, there we go. So we need to probably put that in 5-2. See how it sits in the mix now. It's not overpowering in that high frequency range. Maybe still a little too loud. So some here you're not supposed to really do this, but I back off a little bit here. I said I wasn't coming back here, but sometimes you have to. So just, my unorthodox way. So we're going to come back here real quick. Okay, that's a good volume. So we know that's mixed into the mix that we have on channel 5, and that's those two. So now I go and I find the next instrument. So it's that mid and it's basically the mid-range area. Same thing here. See how it's overpowering? Even if you turn it down, it doesn't sound punchy. So we need to put it on this own track too. Again, fruity parametric EQ. You can still make it. You can still make it sound strong, but as long as you eliminate the frequencies that are causing the muddiness along with your bass. Now we go up here and use secret sauce. See right here in secret sauce, you can cut whatever frequency you take the dot to, you can cut it. If you want to cut out all the lowest frequencies, you cut around here and it won't process it. But here, I'm bringing it just a little in the middle some more. See what it sounds like in the mix. So now what I want to do is, before I get too far in it, I come back, listen to my full mix. And see how I went back to my transient process, cut out all of those harsh semblances. Now you can hear everything a little more clearer. And later you can still go back and you go back between your transient processor and your fruity parametric EQ to finish, working it out. And sometimes you go back to your secret sauce. There you got the foundation for what you need there instead of that right there, that's harsh to your ears after a while. You want to just hear it. Now we're going to make up for what we lost over here, doing all of these processes. So we're way off the zero. Sometimes I do this, turn off my my fruity limiter, and then I go and I use soft clipper. I use soft clipper. I'm gonna make it sound more fuller now. Brought that back up to right up under. Now we go back to our limiter. And we're almost there. Everything else is just playing around. I mean, once you get to that part right there, if you go back, you get to that part there, you see how full that your instruments and everything are sounding together and they're not clashing against each other. They're paying in the directions where they can breathe and have their time to shine, even though all of your instruments may be playing at the same time, which is not really normal in a beat. But that's how I measure if my instruments are actually clear. So I come back now. So we already hear that that's clashing. So that's about in the same region about where our piano was. So let's see if we can drop it in to 6.2. And come back off there and match the volume. So matching the volume over here of what we had our pianos at. You see what I'm saying? We have them equally pan to each side, so they don't clash when they come in. If they come in together, if that's how you want to arrange it, you won't you won't screw yourself up later when you go to arranging the beat. That's why I don't like to arrange while I mix it. So okay, those two sound pretty good together. I mean, for right now, because later I don't want to drag you all through this because I want to show you something in a second. So that's the gist of it. Basically, now you just going back and see. I didn't even show you I had even do anything with the drums, because I use FFLT, and I already have a lot of drum kits already in there that are already processed like I want them. I just have to bring them out and mix. I may go back later and use the special sauce. Let's do it now. Let's throw him on 9, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I just only probably use the special sauce. And I'm sorry, it's not called the special sauce, but it is to me. See what I'm saying? I might come back later and just do something with the bass too. So that gives you a little bit more punch, and that's all I really will use, for my drum tracks, because I already have, the sounds that I need processed in my drum kits. All right, hold on. I'm messing myself up here, y'all. There we go. I still want to come back and take a little more transient off now. See, now your beat sounds fuller. You can hear everything. You just play around with that now, and you just about there right there. If you want to get that, get up to right at 0 over here, you go down to your limiter. Just raise your loudness. Some of you guys like to go over. Y'all like to go over into the ray. I like to just stay right on. But you just raise the ceiling a little bit under loudness. That's basically it. That's how I mix my beats after I finish, making my beats the unorthodox way. Then I mix it to some people's unorthodox way. But if you can go back in this, and follow these steps. For a lot of guys, they don't even get this close. And I'm not saying by far that this is great, but it sounds much, 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 much better than the beats I made in long years. And I still see where I can probably come to my EQ here. See how much clearer? You're getting more punch now because you're dropping these frequencies that are high and crunching them in right here. Do the same thing on the other side. I think the bass is pretty good. I might want to raise the volume up on it, but I'll see later. Let me get one more go by, and then I'm gonna show you guys real quick. Let me see. I hope y'all can. If y'all know anything about the model 12, right? So I have my Tascam Model 12 routed to my computer. I don't know. I hope you guys can be able to, you can see it. I'm sorry. So you guys familiar with where in the middle is PC mode. Left is live mode. Middle is PC mode. And to the right, that's record mode. But you need to have this switch. Let me see. Hold on. All right. You guys need to have that switch. So I'm trying to see my monitor at the same time. I have to have that switch in the middle. On track 1 and 2, That's what I use, 1 and 2. I'm sorry. If you want to use other tracks, try it. But, out of the box, I set this thing up the way I wanted it, and I don't mess with it because, boy, I got some stories to tell about if you mash the wrong dang on button on this thing, and you'll be 2 days trying to figure it out, even with the book and videos. I'll do a video later. But anyway, 1 and 2, right? Then you go down on your knobs and you just fix it to where it sounds good to you. If it's an after mix, you want to make it kind of flat. Want to make it flat. See what I got? That's your high. Your frequency ranges, your mids, your bass. No effects at all. I don't use any effects from the board on these. And then here, now this is to anybody's preferences. Some people, let me let you hear it. Hear this here? That's straight up and down. That's not stereo. Oh, that's another thing I didn't show you guys that I use. I'm going to do that next after I finish this. But this is how I know how my stereo is, because I can never hear how it would sound like when I'm panning if I don't pan it on my mixing board. So the whole time I pan basically in real stereo when I'm panning into my mixing board. Maybe if I was coming straight out of FL Studio, I would hear it pan, but going through the mixing board, you have to match that. So this is straight up and down on both channels. You don't hear anything pan. To some people's discretion, they like to pan maybe 1/4 away, as you can hear. But I like mine deep. That's how I record. All right. That's basically what I do on my Tascam 12. And then I have my levels here where I need to have my levels. This is for channel 1 or 2. Make sure they're equal on both sides. Listen to your headphones and, watch your meter over here. Make sure your meter is level at all times on both sides. Of course, when you pan some instruments or whatever, it's really going to affect it, but not that bad if you know how to use your limiter. Right? So that's basically the gist of what I do with the Tascam 12 with that when I'm mixing with FL Studio. So everything that I mix, I have my baby over here. Baby, tell them who's on the beat. See, I got her on channel 5 right there, running from my Luvusu L5. And then that's my camera switcher right there, y'all. So let me see. Hold on. What's up? Hey, y'all. It's my camera switcher there. So we switch back here with this camera, right? So that's what I do with my Tascam 12. It's really simple, but this thing here is worth the money just for what I do with it. I haven't even recorded with it yet, but for what I do with it, it's very much well worth twice what I paid for it, to me, for as long as I've been in music. I know about equipment, right? So let's get back. That's basically that beat. I know y'all tired of hearing it, right? If y'all want to stick with me for just a little bit more, let me save this. Oh, wait. One more quick, fast thing. Let me turn it up because let me see. All right, so another thing I usually use sometimes too. Let me see here. Sometimes I get confused on stuff up in this joint. All right, hold on. Golly, I'm tripping. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking for my stereo processor. Should be right up here. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah. No, not you. Yeah, enhance. See, I further can, change up the stereo field to make your instrument sit a little better by using the Fruity stereo enhancer. So usually I come over to the right. Now you can hear that. Now you can hear your bass and your bass line coming in a little bit. It's going down. That's when you want to separate and have more of your highs in the stereo field. And over here. So if you had automation and stuff going on and want to do weird effects with your stereo spectrum, you could do that. But that's just straight in the middle. So I usually get around about. It's going to be in between, 1/4 on this. Just the opposite of my stereo field on my Tascam 112, so that way it don't conflict. That's why it sounds like that, because I'm already stereoed out on the mixer board. So I retro at that by finding a sweet spot between the same spots that's at on my Tascam 12. Right? I think I like it right in here because it doesn't add that semblance back in, that transience. So I come. Now listen to some of the other instruments real quick in that stereo. Now there are some other little instruments, especially percussions that I'm going to put in. Let me see something. And then I'm gonna jump to something else, y'all. See if I can put that with my on channel 9 with my drums. Yeah. And even though those two instruments, the guitar, both of those, I just copy and pasted both of those together to play the same. And I have those both on the same track. And you can still, same pan, but you can still hear them pretty good. I would probably rather for it to be like this. Now you see the difference with one playing opposite of the other. That's what I may end up doing, is leaving it right there. Yeah. All right, that's it for that one, right? So I'll come and fiddle around. But now I can go, if I want to, before I arrange it, I'll add some other instruments in it because it's really basically mixed down. You just add other instruments in it. And if that instrument needs to be processed, you process it, but it should fit right in. If it doesn't, a lot of times if y'all guys use this method, and let me show you one last thing, because I really want y'all, if this helps somebody, I'm going to be in depth with it. So I'm not going to really rush. If you want to stick around, you will, but I'm just going to give you the sauce from how I went from just my beats, man, I don't even want to talk about it. And that was just a few years ago, But yeah, if your beats really don't sound exactly like you want them, once you get to where it's almost there, it's gonna be a transit processor and your equalizer. You're gonna have to fiddle around with them to find what frequencies you would want. That's why you always keep, you gotta keep listening to certain instruments over and over and over and over again with each other and whatever, and keep coming back. And this is where you'll make them fit into the spectrum at, is by moving around between, I would say, 8 or 900. Depending on what instruments you really want to be prevalent in your beat, that's where you're gonna play around at, between 900 and no more than 5, because 500 hertz is about where vocals sit in there. So if you had vocals, you would go up in there and do it like this. And then you'll have to go back and mess around with your trances to get whatever highs you want back out of that. But I'm setting mine back over here around, what was I, about 650? And I might come back later and put some reverb on those cymbals or what have you, but that's the gist of it, you guys. Let me save that. And I might not mix this one because I've been on for a minute. Let me see how else. I told somebody I was going to do basically 30 minutes, but hey, for the love of music. Wait, who was it?
Locsta on the beat.
Okay. Let's see here. I think it was this one here. I may just play this one with y'all, so when y'all want to come back and see me actually do it, and I won't be explaining, I'll just be speed walking through a lot of these other ones, because I do actually go faster than this, but I just was trying to, explain it, in as much detail as I could to where you guys can understand it, you see. So, I mean, if anybody found this interesting and you want to go in depth with it, I'll get with you and show you. Or if you got something to show me, especially if you got something to show me, hold on, let me check my stream. Especially if you have something to show me, I love to learn. So let me see. You have anybody else on? Okay. All right, y'all, we gonna go with another file. Let me see. I think this is this one. Now y'all can already hear the difference about how loud that sounds and muddy. See, that's what I mean, y'all, by saying if it sounds halfway decent, it might sound muddy or whatever, but try to get it as close as you can without using any of the processing effects yet. That bass line sounds a little deep. Y'all make sure y'all check out Hi-Hat Wizardry down in my descriptions. Check out the Power Collection. That's where this chord came from. My first Midi packs going out this year that I made. And yeah, this basically was gonna just be a demonstration song, but I got to do this thing. That's the same chord, just a different instrument panned to another side. So when they play together, it makes a whole stereo feel, not with just the same sound, but it's two sounds coming together in a stereo feel once you finish, and that's what broadens out your whole audio music. Oh man, I'm glad they do. Old Beanie on the beat, man. Where that boy at? All right, So if y'all hanging with me that long, we're gonna try to speed walk through this one. I might talk, but I'm just gonna speed walk through it because I already know what I want to do. So here we go. All the instruments playing at one time, just about. Oh, I did come in and do this one a little. So I have to work on it. So me, I do. So I want a little more transits in that type of beat because it's a more bouncier, type of beat. There's a lot of still some muddiness to it to me. So I come back over and I find it. I have to cut that. It might not be the right bass with that because it's I might have to go process the bass. Maybe my limiter. Hold on. Limiter's not catching that. It might sit in there now. So that's when it's already done. Basically, I think that's when I just had to go back and fiddle around with. So there's 2 beats that's going to be able to be arranged. Maybe tomorrow night I might do something. Usually I don't. I might just make a video and upload it. See, I left a little bit of of the bass in the piano, so it can still give the depthness of it. But left most of that mid range in there too, but not too much that where a singer would want to sing in the 500 hertz range. That it would be hard to mix, a singer or a rapper or somebody in that. That warmness, give those strings. I think that's what we're trying to. Hold on, let me get that piano out. Hold on. See, that's what's drowning out my bass. Can y'all hear that? And there's something up with that instrument too, because it's scratching. So we're gonna bring that down some. that's what was drowning out the bass. Y'all see how I have this instrument panned to the right? Well, if you have headphones on and earbuds, you would definitely hear it. But if you're just on a phone or what have you, you won't be able to. So these two are panned. It's the same, pattern, but it's two different instruments. It just sits back in the background. So that's the gist of that beat right there. If y'all like that beat down there, please give me a big thumbs up. I'm going to run through one more, and I'm just going to let y'all hear it. And this is Beanie's first beat. And we'll probably mix this one or what have you a little bit later tomorrow or what have you. So y'all put a big thumbs up if y'all, 2 thumbs up if y'all want me to do another one tomorrow. And then we'll probably let Beanie come and mix this one with us. Let me make sure we didn't do anything to it. Nope, we didn't. We didn't mix any. We didn't add anything. We don't even have a limiter, but I might have to put, yeah, we do. We have the limiter there and reverb. That's it. I might want to do it since I'm in the mood for it. That is way too loud. So let's look what's going on, y'all. See, everything is in the mid-range. Oh, it's gonna come to Beanie's part, y'all. I'm gonna mute these out and let him do his little thing right here. It's Beanie's part. He did that by himself, y'all. 5 years old. So we can already know that those pianos is a little loud. All right, we're gonna swing back in. And Beanie did the beat too, y'all. If y'all go down here, I think we have we have a video down there with Beanie doing his part. No, it's on the website. You guys got to go to lockstabeats.com to see that. That's exclusive material. All right, I'm going to do this one real quick then. So now, okay, yeah, thanks for the thumbs up. I'm doing it. Why is he crying? Why is he crying? If he want to come, he can come. All right, here we go. I'm gonna run through this as quick as I can. I'm show y'all how quick I run through it. Y'all already know the process. All right, so you know that now when we took all of those frequencies we don't need, all the harsh, I call those harsh frequencies, too low, rumble, and muddiness. This is too harsh in the mid-range. No vocals can sit in it that well if it's, around up in here. And then over here, it's just that's just how you remember it. And that's how you remember it. You have to cut the bullshit out. See what I'm saying? I hope y'all. Baby, who on the beat again?
Locsta on the beat.
And what does Locsta mean, crazy?
Locsta on the beat.
Hey, homie, what's up? Locsta on the beat. Okay. He's just clowning, y'all. Okay, hold on. Where was I? So let me see what's going on with this. And we want to keep that epic background. We don't want to be too loud, getting too. So what I'm doing here, I'm shaping the main reverb field for the whole song. That's why sometimes I don't do all that processing to my drums and some of the other instruments, because they're going to catch this universally anyway. I just see how I want it to sound in the mix. So what I need to do first is, before I do that, I need to get back what we lost over here. So remember what I said. I turn off my my Fruity limiter, and I go in and I use my soft clipper. Now, basically let's see what I want to do. I really want to go ahead and use the compressor. I'm sorry. Because see, sometimes I do it there. It's going to end up being the same process, but depending on what I'm listening to, depends on what I want to do. So let me see here. There we go. We brought back some of what we lost. Remember, I say I stay when I do this with the compressor. I usually like to use vintage, especially on a beat like this. It's more thump and it's not muddy. See, those are muddy when I go to vintage. Songs get old school. Alright, so we carry that on. Remember, transient processor now. See, we lost a lot on that, so we have to keep building that up every time we lose some. So I don't know. Right? When you use your soft clip, you want to just be like, right below zero a little bit. Give you a limiter. If you don't use a limiter, whatever you use in a process like this, then you would know what to do. But this is my process, how I do it. So I just get it like right there below the zero there. See, right here. Then I come and I get my limiter. I just raised the ceiling a little. Might need to bring my sauce in now, because this also has a it has a compressor also. So it brings a liveliness back into it. She's bringing it back up. See, this is where you really play it. This is what I call the secret sauce. So now we bypass to listen to what we had. That's what we had. That's what we have now in here. I want to cut out a little bit of the low frequency in here so it won't process it. See how much more all of the instruments are sounding clean in there. Give it a little bit of gain. Now see how we got back up to the zero over here now. And our compressor is still holding it. So we basically where we at now already. I'm gonna go ahead on and throw my stereo effects in. Should I do that now? Let me see. Yeah, I think I will. See, I got that. See how see if I go over here, it thins out your bass. It's not full now. That's in the middle, what we had, and I like to bring it a little over here. You're using the power of the compressor right here. Of those frequencies, you find that frequencies you want to fit in. So we basically there now. It's just basically now playing around with what you have. Listen to what everything sounds, how everything sounds together now. Now I go back and I start doing my instruments. Now I have to start dropping some more. So I have to drop the volume on it. All your transient instruments, you want them to fall a little bit below your bass. You don't want them to overpower. You want to be able to hear them, but just not overpowering. See how loud that is? See, if you do it that way, you'll never know it because it sounds good with that bass right there. It sounds like it's in place, but you always got to... About right in there. All right, so go to this one. Now you want that to be, usually your leads here, you let them do some crazy loud shit. Let me drop this down just a little bit, y'all. All right.
Locsta on the beat.
Now all of them together. Now it's still overpowering my piano. I know it's what it wants, so I'm just gonna come back in each one of those little instruments that's playing that same thing. I'm just gonna dab it down just tad bit, because we can always bring them back up with the magic sauce together. See what it sounds like. So that piano is fitting in good with them, even though they're all long. All right, so that's those. Come back. All right, so now I'm gonna go through the magic sauce to the instruments I want to do it to. Let me fix this bass line. Add a little bit of thump right here in this frequency range to the guitar, but I took out that low rumbling bass that you never want all of that over there. And usually after I do that, I just go straight with the secret sauce and then just tweak it. See, this is what we had. Muddy, a little bit brighter. See what it sounds like in the mix. Did that for the bass. Let's go fix on our pianos. I got my piano on channel 4. It's usually always going into your equalizer. Oh, long one. So you cut out all these. But once you cut out all of the muddy frequencies, everything will shine for you. You might have to add a little bit to the mid range a little bit now. See, it's not fighting with the bass now. And now the bass can breathe too. Now the bass sounds louder because it can breathe. It's not being overdrowned by the piano, and the piano can breathe because it's not having to fight with your bass. Add some liveliness to it. Now everything don't sound overpowering now. It's starting to come alive. We might not even need secret sauce here, but we're gonna try it. Oh, come on now. Sometimes when I do this, it takes a minute. Nope, it seems like it won't act. Oh, there we go. Hold on, let me save this now. That's what it's telling me. That's another thing I didn't tell you guys. Save your project. Woo. Woo. All right, here we go. See how it brings your pianos out, but it's not making it loud. It's still sitting there. See what it sounds like in the mix. Now you can have your instruments there together. All right, let's keep going. So we got our bass and we have our piano. Let's go down here what we want to mess with next. Let's mess with the hardest ones. It's going to be these. And we're going to put them on track 5 because they're most likely going to blend together on the same route, the same effects route. All right, so we go to 5. Go straight with secret sauce. That cuts out you having to have, adding a limiter or a compressor and then an equalizer and then, it's doing all of those things at one time for you here. See how you can hear the instruments way more clearly. Listen to the bell. Now way down here, you hear what it sounds like? It's dull. Here, it's breathing and not overpowering anything else. But it's giving itself its own distinct way to be able to sit and be prominent in the mix. And everybody and all the other instruments can be prominent. And that's very critical. That's how you have to make sure panning is very important. Panning is very important. I'm gonna jump out of secret sauce on that, and we're gonna see how those other instruments sound that plays along with that melody. See, now it sounds like an organ versus what we had. Let's go back. Hold on. That's what we had. Versus see what it sounds like in the mix. Okay. Maybe drop it down a tad here. And you see what each one of them stacks up against your other prominent instruments in your bass. am a transient processor. So see, I took all of that right there. You have to know when that doesn't sound good. Go to your transient processor. See, what I listen to when I use my... Hold on, let me break it down. What I listen to when I use the transient processor is making sure that the harsh parts are not out. I mean, the harsh parts are out, and then I can hear my cymbals and, you know, my hi-hats and things like that. When you can hear those good in there using the transient processor, then you know you're about there. You don't have to be harsh. You can always come back and fix that if you think it's too low. So we go back to our equalizer, parametric equalizer. For that type of song, that's about the sound that I would want. So that's it on that one, basically. Let's get Beanie in here. We're going to fix his part, and then we're good. And see, I just put that on with the regular bass in one, and I think that'll be good. Let me see. I think that's what I want. Now, one last instrument is here. Let's see if she'll fit 5. Oh yeah, that's what I want. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this tonight. I hope you learned something or what have you. If you did, drop it in the comments. Drop in the comments what you want me to do next, because I'll be mixing the rest of these probably tomorrow, and then I'll do a video early, maybe Monday. You know, I might have to do one on Manic Monday of me arranging these. So once I finish these, then I go into arranging my beats to how they're going to end up playing out once I release them, and then, and then they're out of there. But thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you learned something. Please like and subscribe, and make sure you check out my details in my descriptions for the MIDI kits that I have out. Please check out Crescendo Creations website, where we can help you make your own website, not just a regular website, but hold up. Just not a regular website, guys, but your own Netflix type, your own live streaming, and you'll have like your own Spotify. So, and you will own this. Now, you will not be on anybody else's platforms. You will actually own this script that turn your website into these things where you can be right there with your guests. You don't have to be on platforms where you can get shadow banned, or where you have to protect, you're scared to be able to speak out or what have you. You will own these platforms. So check out Crescendo Creations and Crescendo Cast, and check out everything that's in my descriptions, because it's there to help you guys. Thanks again for being with Locsta Beats tonight, and I'm out of here, y'all.
Locsta Beats. Yeah.